Welcome to this video. I am Ihab Barakat, QHSE trainer. I prepared this video for you or for our learners that has been booked for the open book examination with us in order to clarify some important points that shall be taken into consideration before taking the open book examination. The scope of this presentation is for the learners that will enter the examination of the IG1 or IGC1 open book examination. What is the open book examination? The open book examination is an examination that has been designed by NEBOSH in order to assess you or ensure that you already understood all the learning points or all the contents of your material, and they are trying to design this way of examination to keep you safe during this area, and it's expected that it will be also for long term, it's not in a short term. The same way that you already the same way of the same way of studying that you took or follow before in the closed book examination will be the same way. So you have already your book. You shall read and understand your book carefully. You shall research also on every point, which is the main points in every part in your material. If you want to know all the guidelines for the book examination, you can also enter the website of NEBOSH, which has been mentioned in front of you, which is www.nebosh.org.uk/open book examination resources. What is the format of the open book examination? And this is one of the most important part. In the open book examination, you will get a scenario. You shall read this scenario more than one time. After that, you will find some missions, questions for you related to this scenario. Your answer shall be relevant to the scenario. Don't answer generic answers. This is very important point. If you answered, the point is correct, but generic phrases, generic sentences, generic points, not related to the scenario itself, in this case, you will not take any, or you will not get any marks on your answer, which is generic answer. You will have 24 hours to research, complete your examination, and upload also your answer sheet. Let's give you an example of a question that you can, it's similar to the question that you may take. For example, you will have a scenario for one paper or two papers, for example. After that, you will have some questions, some missions. One of them, for example, to ask you about comment on the current health and safety culture in the company. And it has been written 50 marks. In this case, it is expected from you to write 15 different points. And for every point, you need to outline this point related to the scenario. 1 point plus outline this point related to the scenario. This is 1 mark. So in this case, expected to write 15 different points. For every different point, 1 line, 2 lines, 3 lines maximum, regarding to the mission and the question that has been taken, and also this outline and this sentence shall not be generic. It's very important. Example, for example, if I asked you comment on the current health and safety culture in the company, one of these answer may be lack of worker consultation and involvement. This is 1 point. For example, if you are outlining it, no periodic meetings has been conducted by the safety manager or supervisor, for example, with the workers to discuss the accident that happened in the production line. These 3 lines like that, it's 1 mark. So it's expected to write 15 different points with outlining it to get the full mark. How you can prepare to this exam? As I said before, study your material. It's not useful for you to read summary for the materials, okay, or revision notes. It's important now to read the material, all the material, read all the case studies that you can find it in your material. You shall ensure that you already understood all the learning outcomes of every chapter or every element. Make research for the point that you need to know more to understand it more, because that will help you during the open book examination. As I said before, your examination will be done at home. You will be allowed, or you shall have sit in a room that allow you to concentrate 100% in the examination. It is expected from you to finish this examination within between 4 and 5 hours continuously, but of course not recommend to answer all the questions in the continuously way. Shall take break, but you shall schedule that and put timetable for yourself. Recommendation for you before your examination start, number one, is to ensure that you have a table or desk that give you space to read the material, to prepare your answer, to write or to type, to have comfortable chair, good lighting, good temperature or comfortable temperature, to have a clock in front of you in order to monitor your time. Of course, you shall take some breaks. You shall not to, or it's recommended not to answer the questions continuously. Of course, you are allowed to refer your course book. You are allowed to refer to your or read your notes or any other materials online or papers. But the most important is not copy and paste directly from your books. You shall read and write from what you already understood and according to the scenario itself. You shall not communicate with learner partner staff during the examination. You shall not communicate with other learners. And also you shall not seek any advice or contribution from any third party during your examination. If you read any material or our material, Quality Academy's material, or you want to answer from a topic or a part or a sentence that you found it online. In this case, number one, don't copy and paste this sentence. Number two, you shall refer at the end of your answer sheet. You will find like a column or like a rectangle like that, square. It's mentioned to write your source of information that you get. You get it, this source of information, you get it from where? So you are a generic, for example, Quality Academy's material, Quality Academy's notes, website. You can write, for example, www.hse.gov.uk. You got it? It's generic like that. But you shall write references that you already used. It will be written in the examination how many words you shall follow. You shall not exceed this amount of words. If you want to exceed it, you can exceed maximum 10% more, maximum, not more than that. Less than the amount is no problem, okay? But don't exceed the count of the word that will be mentioned for you in the examination paper, because any words will exceed these maximum words will not be marked. So take care of this. There is no it's not important to have a specific words or word counts in every question. It's not important at all. The most important is the points, as I said before. If it's 10 marks, 10 different points with explanations. If 15 marks, 15 different points with explanations from the scenario. But the count of words for every question is not important. But all the examination or the whole examination shall not exceed the amount that will be mentioned for you in the examination paper. There is no need to practice upon the open book examination. There is no need for that. There is no need to have any mock examination. But if you want to check sample of it, you can go to the website of NEBOSH that I already mentioned it before. You can find a sample of the examination, but there is no need to have any mock examination or answer examination like it before taking your open book examination. What is malpractice? If you there is a policy on the website of NEBOSH about the malpractice, but the most important is don't cheat from others during your exam. Don't communicate your learners, as I said before. Don't communicate your tutors. Don't communicate any person to help you during your exam, in order not to be under the malpractice panning, or not to be panned, or not to have any problem upon you, because and if you have any, or if NEBOSH discovered that you did any malpractice, that will affect you negatively. Your examination will be banned, and maybe there is another penalties will be put upon you in the future, and you may be not allowed to enter examination again according to the decision of the NEBOSH board. The open book examination will be marked by the NEBOSH examiners, will not be marked by the training providers. If you did not, or if you will not pass in the open book examination, in this case, you need to reset again for the next open book examination, as the same as the closed book examination. This is regarding to the open book examination. What about the closing interview? If you did not receive an email from Quality Academy for scheduling your closing interview before your examination, please contact your training coordinator immediately. This interview is very important to be done after your examination. It's not an assessment. The main purpose of the interview to ensure or to confirm that the answers that you already wrote, or your answers that you already submitted for the NEBOSH, is your own work. This is the most important. So it's not an assessment. It's not an assessment. What should you prepare for your interview? You need to ensure that you have one of the following to identify yourself: passport, original; driving license, original; national identity card, original. The interview must take place in a private room. No one shall be with you during or within this room. You are not permitted to have any other person with you during the interview. How the interview will be? For example, it will be asking, or the interviewer will ask you to introduce yourself, to let you to show your identification on the camera. to show you the room that you are in, to ensure that you are alone. He will ask you several questions related to the examination that you already took to ensure that the answers consider or were your own work. After that, by the end of the interview, he will thank you about your cooperation. This interview will be recorded in order to be a reference for any assessment or any investigation. So you shall have internet connection, of course, camera, and identification, ID card or passport or license, driving license, to identify yourself. Uh, if the interviewer is happy and he thought that the examination is your own work, so your mark will be declared in line with the published NEBOSH timeframes according to the time frame that has been sent for you by mail from NEBOSH. But if not, of course, you will receive an email from NEBOSH that there is an investigation because the interviewer uh, doubted that the answer that you did in your examination is not your own work. Your closing interview, as I said before, is not an assessment, so you will not receive any mark about the interview. Some tips consider very important for successful closing interview. So before interview, you shall make sure that you downloaded the software that Quality Academy will send the link for it for you. Try to get a friend or family member to listen to you, describe what you wrote about your examination, if possible. Do this using a video link so that you can get used to presenting in this way. Make sure that you have your identification cards, for example, passport or identification, national identification card or driving license, to be ready with you before the interview. Make sure that you are sitting in a quiet room, or you will sit in a quiet room during your interview. You can have you can take a glass of water and you can keep it in front of you. During interview, answer your questions honestly. If you are not sure about something, don't try to guess the answer. Just say that you are not sure. Remember that the interviewer is not an assessor, so there is no marks will be mentioned. Listen carefully to the question, and if you want the interviewer to repeat his question, please don't hesitate to ask him to repeat his question. Try to relax. This may seem difficult, but remember, this is not an examination, is not an assessment. Only this way is important to ensure that the answer that you already mentioned and submitted to NEBOSH is your own efforts, is your own work. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope all best regards for you during your examination. Thank you very much.